Hi. Okay. So let's continue. From the previous video, actually I just noticed that hey, if we log out, here if we has a log out at all, it has a login at all. And if you go to add book, it kick you to do the library login. I just noticed that here, if I just can't remember what his login name is, so I'm going to do the other guy who is not the librarian. So my test2 at data.com. Okay, so I just not noticed I forgot to do this here. So if we go to add book, actually let me in. Why? Because here we just check that if the user exists, but we on this page we actually hasn't checked that he is a librarian. So let's add that. So here at this point we know that there's a user. So next thing we're going to do is to try to prove from the librarian whether we have the librarian with the user ID. Okay, so here we're going to await superbase dot from librarian. Okay, so we're going to select librarian ID librarian. Or you're going to select the librarian ID. Actually, we can just do select star. But we're going to equal this to user underscore ID. That's the field that we create, and it's going to be the same as the user.id. And we expect this to be only one person. It doesn't like my librarian error. Just forget this. Okay, so here, if we get the librarian, if we have an error, or we don't have the librarian, okay, this will be the same place. So since this person already logged in, so we don't know if it doesn't exist or there's no librarian. So what I'm doing is I'm going to redirect this to the error page again. So because there's definitely a user, but we cannot find from the librarian. So hopefully this guy is the patron. So let's have him log out and log in with the librarian account. Okay, let's do that. So now if we refresh this, so it won't let us in anymore. So it will say access denied. You must log in with a librarian account. So basically, they have to log out first. This is because the login page is actually on this, and it's only tricked up when no user is logging in. So that's why we need to log out first before we can log in as a librarian. Okay. So that pretty much is so. Right now we already blocked the normal patron. We only allow the librarian to log in and see our page. So that's only the authorized librarian can see the page. Okay, isn't that my librarian? Oh no, that's not my librarian. My librarian is Som Chai. My librarian is this guy. I need him. So I choose you. Okay, and PASS. Okay, so this would be my librarian. Okay, so now we haven't implemented the code for this first this yet. So let's start implementing this. So you would notice that on this page, okay, we have a form, but we don't have the action yet. So let's add action. CTL in. So basically, you would remember that there's quite a few places that you can specify what this form would do. So, for example, at the submit button, you can specify form action. And here you can, for form to be the default submit action, you can just add action. So here I'm going to lead them to add book action, which we haven't created yet. So next we're going to start on this action. It's going to be long, so bear with it. So this is going to be a synchronous function because we going to use database. So add book action. It's a form action, so it can take form data. Okay. So the first thing, this is going to run on the server. So we're going to say use server. Okay, so you would notice that the function, normally if you declare it inside the component, you don't have to specify use server. But if you go to start a function in a component or a function the component server component is going to call, that function going to have to be declared with use server. Okay, and we're going to do similar thing to this. We actually don't need user here. We can trust that if they get to that button, definitely there's a librarian in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab data from our field. So we're going to have cover file. So from data dot get cover as file. And then what we're going to do, actually let me check the component. So here let me show you the first part. This is where we have the component for the book, the add book form. So the top part is for the book. So what we have here is the book detail. Is the book detail. So we have input type text. The name is the ISBN, and we're going to read the value for ISBN, title, publisher, public year, language. And then here, this is again, if you remember, this is similar thing to what we did with the user profile pictures. So input type file, ID is cover, names cover, and we accept image just like last time. Okay, so when we submit, we just going to put in the data, and you notice that in this form we didn't read the previous information because we expect that this is a new book. Okay, if you're going to do like a upload form, you might have to add the code to pull the current book information and populate all the data. Okay, so let's go back. So you already seen all the variable name. Okay, so for the book cover, we're going to handle it a little bit different, because if you remember, the file is actually in the bucket, not in the database. So we need I'm going to use the ISBN of the book at the file name. So I need to retrieve ISBN first. Okay, so now we can start using cover URL. So we're going to initialize this as a now. Okay. Not as string. I was writing some other language before, so I kind of S is kind of stuck in my head. So now that we have this information, so what we're going to do is that we're going to create a scheme for file name, upload into the bucket. So I'm going to use ISBN as a I'm going to use ISBN as a file name and use the previous extension of the file. So we did this in profile page already. So you should already remember that. So now we check that the user already select the file. So we're going to do extension. So we get the name of the file and then we split right at the dot. And then we just do the pop to get to the last one, and then we make it to lowercase. I just don't need local, I just need lowercase. Okay, I just need to get it to lowercase, or if it doesn't exist, just use empty string. Okay, then we can create our file path. That would be ISBN. Oops, I need the back tip. Okay, so this will be ISBN. With a dot, and then with the value of extension. So now that we have that, we can upload the file. So again, we check for the error. AWAIT. So we're going to do super beta storage and dot from. And if you remember my storage, this one, we use this in the very early video called book image. It's a public, unlike the profile image bucket, which is private. So the link in here, when you get the public link, it can be accessed from anywhere. You don't need the authentication user as well. So here we're going to get thing from book image, and then you can upload. So what you're uploading, file part, that's the name. Then you need the file. Then I'm going to do upsert through again, just because in this scheme, in this updating or uploading scheme, it's possible that the book file is already created, and might possibly be possible that will fail to upload data to the database. Might be due to our code or for some reason. So I'm just going to do upsert through again, just so that if the name already exists, we just replace the file. Okay. If upload error, here I want to know if there's an error, so I'm going to redirect again. So you know that I redirect a lot. This is actually because for this this probably due to my debugging purpose as well. Normally if you pretty sure that this will go well, you can just do the log. This will hide the error from the user as well. But at this point, if there's an error, I want to know. Oops. Okay. So if we get through this properly, then no, actually not this. This. If we get through this properly, then we have the file uploaded. So we need to get this cover URL here. So we're going to assign the value as a public link of the file that we just uploaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the public link, this has to be the object. So here we're going to ask Superbase client to grab the public URL. Oops. Dot from, not that. It, there. Dot from. So from this bucket, just get me the public URL of the file part. So basically ISBN dot something. Okay, so if you remember in the profile picture, we actually store this directly in the database, because every time that we want to show the image, we have to get the signed URL. This is because for the private bucket, you don't have like a universal URL that you can access the data. But for public bucket, you can. And it would be much easier to just get and store the public URL because it's public bucket anyway. So we will just store this public URL instead of the file name, just so that next time we want to share the data or to present the data, we don't have to contact Superbase again. We will just place this as a URL or of the link, and then the image will be show up. Okay, so the cover URL, we can have two choices. It can be now if there's no file selected. If we select the file, we upload to the bucket, and then we assign the value of public URL. Okay, then we can continue with create the book data. So now we're going to create the object that we're going to throw thing into the database. So SBN title. So you're going to use the field with the same name as the column in the database. Get title. Okay, so there. Oh, now I remember where I get that as stuff. From data.get. Again, a string. We have pub year. We're going to convert because what we get from the form data most likely would be string, and in our database we say that is a number. So we're going to make this into a number, and then language. Okay, add string. Oh, we're almost there. Cover. That should be cover URL. Okay, that's it. So that's our book data. Once we get the information, you know what happened. We will just ask Superbase to insert. So const um, book error. So we're going to await Superbase dot from. So this is from book. I'm going to use upsert. So this is new for you guys. So we have insert, we have update. So upsert is a combination of these. So if the information already exists, it's going to do the update. If the information is not existing yet, it's going to insert a new book. So how do we know that the information already exists? So here, so you're going to say on conflict. So this is how Superbase is going to design whether the book already exists or not. So on conflict, the field name is ISBN. So if the book with this ISBN already exists, it's going to update. If not, it's going to insert. Okay, so normally what you're going to put in here is primary key. Okay. So if for all these book on all the table, so actually the other thing that I want you guys to check is that when you create a table, for the one, this one should be 5 because primary key is ISBN, but for the this one is should be fine. For the book, for example, a book copy, so when we create the script that I gave you to create the data and the table, this supposed to be auto incremental value. So make sure that it is. So go to that table, do edit table, and what you're going to check is that the ID. Check on this and make sure that it says is identity and this is check. Because if it's not checked, then there might be a problem when you try to add a book copy and thing like that, because it won't it we want this to be auto generate. So I won't give the value for this field. um and if when I don't give the value for this field, here it said that can is it's a primary, so it cannot be now. So if it's not identity, it's not auto generated, then you're going to get complaint that you miss one required value. Okay, so make sure you go back and check this identity and save. Okay, and this the time that you add this going to the ID going to keep adding up. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. With my previous data, obviously I'm going to get an error when we reach 1000. Okay, so anything that should be identity from the start. Where else you might have an error? So other. So here, I'll remember that we reach until 30. Okay, so this actually pretty tricky. So if this is not if you don't have identity click from the start, the first 25 or 26 times that you try to add, you're going to get an error because when the identity start working, it's going to start from 1, which already exists. So what you can do is that you can try to do insert. the row. So you're going to try insert row and keep saving until the ID exceed the one that already exists in your table. So make sure that the next one is larger than 25, and then you can start coding again. Okay. If you don't have the data in the table, usually this never happen. Just need to make sure that your database is consistent with what you're going to do. Okay, so now here we're going to insert the book. So we're going to check if there's an error or not. Again, because we're going to need the new ISBN to upload into the other table. So if there's a book error, okay, we can just get out at this step. So can upload book info, and this should be book error. Okay. So next, let's handle the other. So on the page, we have other inform data. So it's actually a list of object. It's an array. So we're going to convert this. We're going to pass this as a JSON object first. So we're going to do JSON.pass. Because this is an array. So when we get this as a string, we need to pass it first so that we can get this as a proper array. So we're going to do an order ID. So we need the list of order ID because we want to know what are the other that we need to associate with this book. We don't need the name. But then if we have the new name that we don't know yet, we should add into the database first and grab the ID so that we can associate it with the book. So let's do the loop. So for each order of orders, so if there's a name, because it is possible that the user just add the component and didn't type anything, didn't select anything. Okay, so in that case we don't care. So for the one that exists, here I just want to make sure, well actually there's many ways that you can handle this. You can remember book, you can return this order array with ID and name, and for the one that is not it's not real, so basically the new order that the user type in, so there will be no ID. So you can just like use some weird scheme like just give it the negative ID or something like that. But in this case, I'm just going to make sure that the name actually exists. So I'm just going to go to server base and select from it. This is going to take a while, but since we don't have that many order, so we should be fine. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here we're just going to yeah. So we're going to check for that from other. So we're going to select other ID. Okay. Um. Dot eq. Actually, let's rectify it later. So let grab this. Okay. So this is going to give me the other ID for the other with the same name. So once we get this, if there's an error though, we might want to know and might not want to continue. But the error should not have this code. Okay. Just so that we don't keep, we just going to do this just to avoid the scenario that we have an error in the database and we keep trying to adding stuff. So um so we're going to say that we can insert other. No, actually this can select other, and then let's do select error. Okay, so there. So now it's good. So here we can check if the other is in the database or not. If the data is in the database, so great. We don't need to do anything else. We just put the ID into the list that we're going to add to the database. If we cannot fetch this order from the database though, we have an additional step where we need to add the order into the order, and we want his ID. Okay, so here we're going to tell Superbase that from order we're going to insert the new name. And since we set the ID as auto incremental, so this should just add in with the new ID, with the next ID automatically. Then we want to select other ID back. So this will give you the order ID of the new row that you just created, because we will need the ID back, right? So I'm going to do similar things. I'm just gonna grab this. So here we're going to check for insert error instead. And we don't need that n. So can insert other. And here we should be able to get this, because if there's an error, we going to be kicked out anyway. So and since we just add the new order, it definitely exists. So then we push into the array. Okay, so this is what happened right now, is that For each of the author name, we check if he is already in the database. If he is, we keep the ID. If he's not, then we add him to the database and then keep the ID into the list that we store. Okay, so next, let me beautify this a little. Okay, so here this is when we process the order list that we get from the front end. So now this ID array is what we want to associate with the book using book order table. But then some may already exist. Um, it should not, but just to be safe, because maybe there's some error from the other part. So we're going to see if the length is more than zeros, because if the user don't add the order at all, then there's nothing to do. But then this book not gonna show up anyway, because on the other page we do inner join, because we assume that every book must have at least one order. So here, to process book order, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete whatever left from in the table from this ISBN, and just add the previous the list that we just generated here in. So this will be a delete error. So we're going to always superbase dot from, and we're going to delete from book order. If you still remember our schema, book and author has many to many relationship. So we have a join table. So when you do delete, make sure that you don't stop there. Period. Okay, don't. Make sure that you have EQ, follow it, or else everything in that table will be gone. And I don't think it's going to warn you, just like when you are on the front end. So make sure that you're very, very careful. So for this particular ISBN, delete everything. Okay, for this particular, delete everything. And then we check for error. You would notice that this actually kind of redundant a little bit, but I was I would still do it, because if there's something error, I would want to know. What you can do is that you can make this into a function, but then you're going to have to type in the error and the message anyway. So yeah. So here, that should be delete error. Okay. So now that we delete the previous data, so now we can add a new one. So const book order link would be order id dot map, because we're going to add the order and the book. You need a pair of ISBN and order ID. So for each of the order ID in this map, what you want is an object. What you want is an object of ISBN with the value book data ISBN and the order ID. doesn't value, not declaration. Okay, so for this order ID, okay, you make a pair with the ISBN. So now we can do insert. Okay, so you don't have to insert the data one by one. You can just throw the LA in, and the client would handle that for you. From so the table name is book order, and we're going to insert, and let's just throw in the whole link. Okay, for insert you're okay. You don't have to do EQ, because it just insert whatever inside this array. Okay, and then again we check for error. So it will be can add book order. Okay, so all these will actually will show you what happened at different point in case we have an error. Okay, if you just say error, then you want to know where the error are. So this will allow us to be to debug the code a little bit easier. So the last step we have the book copy information. So this quite a lot of work. Um, so what you want to do is that maybe because right now I just do one book data. What you can do is that you can break this page into two page. So like you can make this page stop at author and book, and then you can say next step, which let allow you to do a list of book copy later. That's possible as well. So you don't have a lot of update going on like this. Okay, but in this case, I just want to finish everything in this page. So that's why we have this long code here. So just like what we do with the book. So now we're going to create information for the book copy. Okay, so we need barcode. Get okay, acquisition date. ACQUISIT date. So this will be form data dot get. Again, the same one. I'm not gonna type anymore. So for the condition, I'm going to make a default word to good. I will let the user type it in. So we'll let the user to type it in. This condition is good. Location. Okay, this one we allow it. From data.get location as string, and then status. We just add it. It should be available. Just to make sure that this not going to conflict with our front end, I'm going to go back to add form .tsx again and make sure that here. Okay, so here for the status, okay, ID status, default value is available and it's disabled, so it's good. Again, we have default value good and it's disabled. So I will show you in the form. You will see the value, you cannot change it. because I want to use the hard code data in here. And you would notice next step, no, you should know this by default. Yeah, we add it to the database again. So if you do something like directly or that correspond to the database schema, it match the primary key, it match table structures. Um, the the front end, the client in Superbase actually pretty nice to use. The only drawback is that when you want to do some weird select that you need to join a lot of stuff. So in this case, we're going to fall back to our first example, which is the wheel. But with this insert and stuff, this is actually pretty nice. Okay, so I believe that is our last step. So once we done this, so we just revalidate our path. And I'm just going to kick it to redirect um, slash add book slash success, so that we know that we add thing successfully. Okay, so we haven't tested yet, so we're going to have to test this later, but let me do this. Yeah, should be fine. So for add page, okay, yeah, we should be all right. Let me check the add book form a little bit. So we have disable if this is pending. Okay, so pending, we go to do use form status. So do submit. Okay, let's see how this go. So this should be right here. Yeah, it doesn't like me. So let's see. User is not a support. Oh, yeah. Just use not user. Sorry. Okay, now it show up. We want to add a new book. We have to add this new ISBN and image file. Okay, and the condition and the status show up with the default name. That's good. Okay, so let me Google some book. Let me see novel image. Let's do Harry Potter book cover. Okay, let's do this one. Nope. Let me see. I want to save the image. We'll do that. Okay, save image as. Okay, I'm going to do a desktop carry.jpg. So the ISBN. I actually don't have to use the real information. But now that we are here anyway, wait, why does no ISBN? Okay, this ISBN. So let's do like 2000. And other I'm going to do JK. I cannot type her name. So we need and then we're going to add another one, and actually I'm going to add another one just to make sure that the existing order work. Okay, so we have these three barcode. Let's get it today. So location main branch, so we're going to add. Okay, so now we're adding book. It don't like orders. Okay, so let's go back. So see, this is what happened. That's why I just do a lot of upsert, because or else I have to go back and delete the data while I'm debugging. So and you want to know where this is error. So line number 47. Line number 47. Here. And my order is yeah, I think I got what happened. Let me check with this. Yes. Orders, and then I have to the back to okay. I think what I just need to do is as an S here, and do S. Okay, here. So I already have order in here. So let's try again. And I think I forgot to choose the image right before. So let's do the first one and then JK. Oh, let's just do that. Just in case there's an error again. So location main branch. Okay. And expect token A. Other one, other two, is not validation. So maybe I should lock this out first. I might forget to add something in the form. Actually, let me check a little bit. This is before I do another press, because this is actually quite so I have order sections, Davis ID order list, okay. ID order list, order.map, index, put type text, name. Clicks fine. Order.map option, order ID. Let's check what happened here. Let me do that log and we will see what happened. So let's do this first. I will just ignore the file right now because we debugging the order. I'm pretty sure it's ROWL because he's not row. Okay, the barcode should be fine. We haven't been able to add that in yet. Location main branch. Okay, I want to see. Here string. Did it type in? No, because it's actually an error. But it should do the log first. From action. Just you mean user, not that one. Not that one. Okay. Other one. Other two. Stream. So actually I need to check this. I need to check this. This one dot pass. And it said that unexpected token A. So what I'm looking for is where the A is coming from. The pass. It just get the A for some reason. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to comment this list first, and I just want to see what is the data that I get. Okay, so let me do this, and I'm going to do an empty array for now. Okay, so that should help. Let's do it again. Actually, the book with this ISB entry gonna go in a few times. I'm not even gonna type yet because I know that the error is somewhere else. Okay. Okay. Actually, it's only quite few. The rest I think I can just ignore because and then let me see. Other one. First we first get at book. It's other one, comma other two. Okay. I think I see this somewhere. There. There it is. So I need to so what I'm doing here is that we have hidden value order. So this hidden value here going to keep the value of here. Forget to implement this. So what we're going to do here is that every time we change the value, we're going to do JSON dot stringify the order list. So every time the order state update, we're going to keep updating this hidden form variable. Okay, so that will allow us to read the data. Okay, so now let's go back and uncomment this and do it again. So hopefully this time it will be alright. Or at least it will error somewhere else. Okay. And then we do English. We're going to do heli.jpg. Note that. Don't want you guys. Okay. And let's add the barcode acquisition date. Let's do somewhere here, and then add it. Okay. New order. Dot push. Can we property off now? Let me check this order. Okay, yeah. So we insert order. Let me select AU TSR ID. Actually, should not be now. Let me see what I did. So for the existing order, if we have one, we push order into order ID, or else we do the insert from order. We add the name, select order ID. Let me check this a little bit. Order AUTHORID. This is correct though. So if there's a new order, we push. Oh, we push new order, not existing order. So that's my bad. Sorry. So we need to put the data that we retrieve from the database, not the one that doesn't exist. Okay. And you're going to go through this step a few times. you notice that there's some mess up that you can do when you um, do the database stuff. Even though we have a lot of help from the client, still there's something weird that can going on. Okay, so let's add again. Okay, so now it's successfully. So now let's go to home page. So our Harry Potter coming up. So that's good. Okay, so um, I actually want to do a new book because here I only use the existing author. So we should add a new one that use new author. So let's do Harry 2 with this English. I'm actually going to use the same image though, and then with some existing author, I guess. The barcode has to be unique. So if it's some already add in, if you try to add the same barcode, actually you get database. The database going to throw an error because it's a unique key. Okay, so let's see. Yep, we have Harry 2. And it show up properly, so that's it. So this is for adding the new book to the library, and is an example on how you would deal with the public buckets. We're going to save the public URL. This is how you deal with uploading the data, a lot of data all together. Okay, so basically you're going to try to do this thing step by step. Okay. So I think that pretty much it for this example. So bye.